One of my mentors way back when said, you know, when you do this stuff, you need to tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them, right? So let me tell you what we're going to do. I don't know, I know that some of you have traveled in etheric space with me because that's something we've been doing for many years. But if you don't, you can think of it as daydreaming. What we're going to do is take a guided meditation through in etheric space over part of the medicine wheel. The part of the medicine wheel that goes from spring in the east to summer in the south to fall, because equinox is upon us. It's due tomorrow, I think, next day. And it's a time in the spring, in the medicine wheel, that's the time of beginnings. That's when you know, the seeds that have been gestating within us all winter long finally break through into the light. And you look around and you see the beginnings of the plants growing. You see the new litters of the critters. And that's a time of vision. What will the future look like? What do we want the future to look like? And a lot of what we want the future to look like is now starting to show up. And the spring equinox appears and it comes into our mind. So what we're going to do is we'll go into a sacred space or the etheric space, and we'll rest for a while in the east and give people time to inventory what they think their garden is going to look like based on whatever it is they see there. Then we'll take a walk around the summer while you tend your garden, and I'm thinking stroll, and then we'll end up in the fall equinox in the west, and we'll take note of what actually happened. How is it? So I would like to start with asking you just to relax. Whatever your normal process is for becoming aware of the sacred, whether it's meditating or lighting a candle, or just centering yourself. We all have such different terminology about this, but the sacred surrounds us. We live in it, we swim in it, we breathe it in, we breathe it out. And I invite you now to enter that awareness of that truth. And just be still for a while. Now this exercise, I'm going to ask you to be more than just still, you're going to need to be active. So do you all have, or does anybody not have pencil or writing materials so you can take notes? Does anybody need to get up? If you do, please get up, get some writing material, because I will be asking you to write. Okay, write. You gotta kind of have a foot in both worlds and scribble. Just do the best you can. I've lit a fire in etheric space, and I invite you to close your eyes and look for the fire. And if you have trouble with that, you can ask Hummingbird to guide you to the fire. And when you reach the fire, if you will raise a finger or hold your hand up or flip your little hand that is provided. And some of you I can't see, so I'll have to trust that you're staying with us. And from the fire, go to, if you look, there's a circle around it, about 25 yards out, a circle of stones. Children of the mountains, the wisdom keepers for the Mother Earth. And in the east, there is a glow in the sky. The sun's not up yet, but you can see that morning light come. And I invite you to go to the eastern side of the circle and step outside the circle and rest for a bit. Your favorite place, your favorite outdoor place. While you're there in the east of the medicine wheel, when the spring equinox is coming, find a place you really like, an outdoor place, and relax there. It may be a very familiar place. You may have been there many times. It may be real. It may be a fantasy in your mind, but it's a place you like. It's a place of comfort. And I invite you to just look around you, because all around you is the very first new growth. All of the seeds gestating in the hibernation of winter are now coming up, breaking through the soil into the light, coming out of the darkness into the light. And only you know what you hope all that growth produces. What kind of plants? What kind of relationships? Are there any swimmers? Are there winged ones coming to your garden? Are they butterflies? Are they birds? What do you hope to see in your garden? For this is what envisioning is about. This is what all of these Zoom meetings are about. It's envisioning. And so we want to envision what you were hoping for back last spring. The virus had come. There was a great deal of confusion in the world. But we all have our gardens. We all have our hopes. We all have our dreams. What were yours? I invite you to take note of that so you remember when we come back out of the garden fantasy. Take some time. Jot down what your dreams were last spring in the equinox. What you hoped the world would be like. And relax. Be easy. Watch the fire. And when you're ready, you've got your notes down. Start strolling around the circle towards the south. You can tell where the south is. And as you stroll, carry your garden with you in your mind and do what you think needs to be done. Do you fertilize something? Do you pull weeds? Do you provide water? Do you trust nature to take care of everything? Whatever it is you did last spring into the summer to tend your garden. Think about that. What did you do? Did you remember your garden? Were you too busy? And when you get to the south, stop and rest. Relax. Enjoy. It's a nice summer day, you know. Solstice is there. Here in the northern hemisphere, it's the longest day of the year. Lots of sunshine. Good time to swim. But look at your garden. What do you see? How's it coming along? How is it fitting your vision just back at the spring equinox? And make a note. What's flourished in your garden now that it's summertime? And what hasn't? Enjoy the warmth. Enjoy the garden. And when you're ready, start strolling towards the west. And while you're strolling, continue to tend your garden. Remember what you did to take care of it. How did you behave from last June to now? How did you tend your garden? What did you do? Did you need to protect it? Need to water it? Just relax and keep walking until you get to the western gate. And rest. You've been walking a while. The west is interesting. In the medicine wheel, the west, of course, is opposite the east. And the east is the strength of vision. The west is the strength of mind, rationality, intellect, questioning, evaluating, looking over what you've done. I had a friend that used to teach his first class, and he'd always say, right at the beginning, people think that experience is the best teacher. He said, but research shows that's not true. He said, what's true is thinking about your experience. It's the best teacher. And that's the West in the medicine wheel, thinking about your experience. And this time we're talking about thinking about your experience of your hopes for the garden, you're tending the garden, and what's your garden look like now? How is it? Because we're into harvest time. The next step, if we were to move on into past the equinox, we would be looking at the harvest. We reap what we sow. What have we sown? What have we tended to, protected, encouraged, discouraged? What's in your garden now? And how does that relate to what was your vision of what was in your garden last spring. And rest. And when you have taken notes and have set in your mind your observations, you start the process of returning to normal space. Still relaxed, still easy. Change your focus, but don't lose the focus on the sacred. Stay in sacred space as you begin to awaken and come back and open your eyes and rejoin this world of flesh and form and Zoom and all the people who are watching and listening. And when you're back and you feel complete, give some kind of a signal so we can tell when everyone's ready to share. I love the thumbs up. That's cool. Betty, how you doing? Tree? I have a friend. Okay. Seen signs from everybody, but not everybody has the capacity to show us. So I invite you to share. And I'm going to ask as they go around, I'm going to start at the top. And I'll work down the list as I see it in the participants list. So I'll call upon you, and I would like to start with Meenakshi.
Did you call upon me, Ksitew?
I did call upon you.
You know, you took me back to the ceremonies we used to have when I had never seen anyone here. I had never seen, well, by seeing anyone means we'd never really met except on social media, on Yahoo groups. And I went again, which was not my intent. And then I did what I used to do at that time, and I drew.
Cool.
Because this was for me the best thing that I'd seen, that we could vision and we could travel and we could be here at the same time, grounded, centered, and expanded at the same time. And that for me has been the greatest gift of what I've learned from you, Ksitew. That, like you said, we are in sacred space. We are sacred space, so we never actually have to leave it, except that our brain has to be aware of that. And so this was beautiful. And I remember, because this equinox is very close to the new moon, and I had a new moon initiation with you. Because I used to, in many of the descriptions, I would say, I'm sitting by the side of the river. And I drew myself once again, sitting by the side of the river. And this time I remembered a story which I had thought of as a child. I used to think it's a story that I'm going to write one time. But I realized one day that maybe it was a past life. I have no idea, because it's like a memory. And there I'm a little boy sitting by the river and just picking up pebbles from the river. I still love river stones. And I would pick one up, and they were very smooth, and I would examine it, and some I would keep and others I would send back. So to me, it just meant that I'm thinking of the experiences of my life. So I loved that you then were talking about the West as evaluating your experiences. And the message to me was that you can keep what you feel will help you, and you can let back into the river for someone else to pick up whatever they need to pick up. The river may leave it there, or the stone may be light enough to flow with the river. And the last thing just to share is that as I see that we connect so beautifully in that space, I drew a big bird. It was a huge bird for the tree that I made. And just then after that, you talked about a bird. So I said, so that was beautiful. Thank you very much, Ksitew. I loved this meditation a lot.
Hi, hi. And the thunderbird is a very large bird too. Hi, Jenny.
Thank you so much, Ksitew. That was so beautiful. First, I wanted to share when you open sacred space, I saw not only us, we in this group, I saw all beings of the whole world together, all cultures, all places, all people. It was very beautiful, very calming. And I went, my favorite place, which many of you know who know me well, is Chaco Canyon, New Mexico. And I was there. And that is the place that is, not that one place is more sacred than the other, because just as we're always in sacred peace, that every place where our footsteps and my footsteps go is sacred. And in the East, the phoenix and the ravens came to me. And I was in awe. And I felt my heart open more. And I remembered, not that it was long ago since this time of change started for our world, but I remembered it didn't take but a few days during this pandemic that I was grateful that the stillness had come for me. And from that day and through each direction, and I still am sending out light to all beings, because I feel the confusion of the world, but it doesn't, it's very interesting, it doesn't bleed into myself for me to be confused. So in the South, it's a beautiful place of transformation for me. And I saw myself with a snake shedding its skin as I traveled. And it felt so good, so right. And then to the West, the beautiful West, I went deep within, and I could feel the warmth of the fire warming my skin, warming my crown, warming my throat chakra, and it went all through me. And it was such a beautiful experience. And I've changed my mind. I used to believe that there were all these lessons that I was here to learn. Now I just think they're all experiences. And I love the way that you use that word, because that's become my truth. So that's it. I thank you so much. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Okay. Davida? You're muted.
Hi, it was great. I was immediately taken to a fire with many different types of people. I was in a circle, and there was a circle behind us, and the circles went on with multiple levels of people connected. And my journey was to a waterfall that I go to in a vision and opened into a wide, beautiful green meadow with a vision of a lake through the meadow. And immediately animals and lots of birds started coming, bringing pieces of paper to me. It looked like pages from a book. And eventually the owl flew down with my book, The 9 Responsibilities. And then when we journeyed on back to the circle, which was people for me, I brought the book, and each person took the book or the message that whatever was in there for them and passed it around the circle. And when I got back to that space, it became a spiral. So I went into the next circle and around and around. And then it opened up as they were taking their personal power and their light and their energy and their dynamics and continuing that. And then as I journeyed on again, I found myself having shifted to a different dimensional state within another circle where people had taken these, they had empowered themselves with all their multiple gifts. And the gifts that we haven't touched on, which are the 6th and 7th and 8th sense, all the tremendous telepathy and other connections that we have in this gift to unite us into a greater light circle, which in that circle again did the spiral. And then at the end was taken to the north and embodied with the knowingness of the co-creation that we transform and are living in a complete state of grace, light, and love, and wisdom, great wisdom within myself and within others. So thank you very much. It was beautiful, really beautiful. Thank you.
3. Wake up, Tree.
Oh, is that Tree who's come on the phone?
That's Teresa. Yeah. She's showing up as her phone number. Okay, we'll go on. Betsy.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Kai. I feel so excited. I feel so blessed to have the opportunity at first of meet all the people in this circle. You inspired me a lot, every one of you. I had the opportunity to learn a little bit more about you, Kai, through Meenakshi. She was telling me and helping me to create my Thai praise, and that was amazing experience. I was taking notes today too because I really love to write down, and when I write down, it's so easy for me to connect with everything. And but it was impossible to don't go to my place when you were leading the meditation, that I stopped writing for a second, and what I imagined, it was being in contact with the 4 elements. For me, it's a great experience. It's like to come back to the womb, like the baby in my mom belly, detox my body of every thought, every memory, everything around, like all the knowledge, everything. It's like I detox of everything and I reborn when I can live, like experience the elements through the meditation. And that is so beautiful because I can connect exactly with my vision from the purest part of me. And that it has been like so beautiful this week because I was practicing during this week this exercise, and for the first time in my life I really connect with that vision, but no because I have to think about this, not because I have to plan or a dream or something. It was just so pure, so beautiful, so detoxed, and I could see all my memories, all my experience, all my life until here with so much love and compassion. And I've been taking, I made a peace with all my past, and that made me see my present with enthusiasm again. And like, I don't know how to explain sometime in English, I'm sorry. But it's like the 4 elements made me be in that place. I am again the baby, and that's my secret place. I come back to that moment, and it's like I come back to be that little things coming to this world with nothing more than learn and connect and give and be. And that was so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Okay. Tree, are you ready to share?
No, I can't do that.
You can't do that?
May I? Hi.
Yes, Lillian. Diana.
Hi. My English is not the best, but I try to express something that for me is very rare and special. All those places I enter here, when I enter here, I don't know why enter, but you were started the meditation and I only listened. Then when all about or the girls speaks and Meenakshi and everybody, those places they about talk it. All places are in my memories. I don't know why. I don't understand rationality that is someone stopped me and I enter here. But something told me stage and share this and stay and share, give and receive in balance. And I stayed here. And I don't know if my English is clear, but I want to say thank you because I'm here.
Okay.
That's
And
it.
your English is fine.
It's
Thank
very
you.
beautiful, Liliana. Very, very beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because we hear not only the language, we hear from the heart. And you have shared so much more than you may have thought you had.
Thank you.
Katie?
Hi, everybody. I hope it's not too noisy here. I'm sitting outside in Flagstaff and there's a train. But I'm kind of new to journeying, and I guess what everybody else got, I'm like, wow, that's really cool. for me, I think I was kind of practical in thinking about, you know, moving what was happening in my life last spring, and the hopes and dreams that I had at that moment, and equating those to flower buds in my garden and stuff, and seeing that through the summer it was very, very difficult to tend my garden. And I just kind of wrote down key words. I wasn't able to get like full thoughts or anything like that. I was just writing key words and just realizing how I kind of have felt very burdened over the summer and stuff. And then when you moved into fall, just the remembrance of the change. I was really glad to have it pointed out to me and grounded, the fact that fall is coming and the purpose of fall and stuff. I know my body has challenges in the weather changes, and I've already this last week started to feel some of those changes physically and battling them. And it's like in the meditation, I realized, no, that's not the space I want to be in, is trying to battle something that's changing. And what do I want to go into my fall with? And you said so many words, I only could get 3 of them during that time. But, you know, strength, evaluate, and harvest. And it's interesting because 3 other words, key words that have come to me recently, also are like a kind of like a 3-step process of acceptance, harvesting the good, and then forgiveness being 3rd step. And that's kind of how I related to those 3 words in the end of strength, evaluate, and harvest, kind of have the same feel in it. And that's what I know I'm going through in my life. And so I'm going to utilize those 3 words going through this fall now to work with my garden far more effectively than I feel like I did in the spring and summer. So that's how I took it. Thank you so much. I am learning and enjoying journeying. It's still kind of challenging and new, but when Meenakshi spoke at the end about being able to be in 2 worlds and stuff, it is fascinating to me because I believe that some of us have more, maybe more abilities or stuff. I've been told that I'm very multidimensional, and I guess I didn't understand the things that I was before, and understanding what it is to be multidimensional, and you giving me a safe space to explore that thought and not be afraid, because I've been afraid of mystical and spiritual and that kind of stuff. So opening up and just seeing that that's who and what I already am as a multidimensional being. And I'm not crazy. I thought I was crazy all my life with all these abilities to be in other worlds and these things that I didn't understand. And I'm 58 years old and only beginning to understand who and what I am and what my capabilities are, and finding that there's other people that know what these things are and that they're not crazy. So it is just so delightful to get to be with people and be, and not be trying to be hidden and afraid and ashamed. So I honor all of you for standing in this place, and thank you for accepting me into the space. Blessings.
Katie, Ariana has requested something from you. She has said, can you please repeat your 3 words?
Thank you for asking, Liliana. The ones that I got in this meditation were strength, evaluate, and harvest. And then the flip side to those 3 were acceptance, harvesting the good, and forgiving the rest.
Okay.
Okay. Ariana?
Sorry, I don't understand.
No, Ariana. Ariana
Okay.
Garcia.
You'll need to unmute. That's funny. I can't even ask her to unmute.
I think she's done. I think she wants you to pick somebody else.
Okay. Okay. The names have
Yeah,
been
she's in a
jumping
public
around.
space, so she can't share.
Have I missed anybody?
K.
Okay. Okay.
Hello, everybody. I've had a very interesting life with COVID. Not too long ago, I came across something that I was reading, and it said, "What has been the gift of COVID for you?" And it's hard to think of COVID as a gift, but I have very limited funds in my living situation right now. And I do receive EBT, which is also known as food stamps. Well, last year, my my funds for food were cut in half. And so then I started going to various food banks and so forth for my food, and that worked out pretty good. But I was still having difficulty putting together the funds that I needed. With COVID, what has happened is that the federal government now has upped my food stamps so that I have more than enough. And so even though it's COVID, I have plenty to eat and I have enough to even share. So that's a really good thing for me. But back to the sacred fire, one of the things that I always remember is right before I moved to Belize for a while, I knew that I probably could not take my sacred herbs across the border, and that's because they might have been perceived as illegal drugs. So I had a small fire in the backyard, and I took all of my sacred herbs and put them in the fire. And what happened was just like a miracle to me. That fire got bigger and bigger. It looked like a tornado, and it swirled around and around and around and went way up to the sky. I have never seen smoke do that in my life. And it still gives me cold chills when I think about it. It was a wonderful experience. And, you know, one of the words that I wrote down is about what have I sown as far as sowing and so forth in my garden. And I will say that I'm a Reiki master in Usui and medicine Reiki, and I have been sending many, many people Reiki long distance this year for their healing. And what have I protected? Okay, last year, I made a decision that I would look out for the pollinators. So in my garden, I had a banana pepper plant. I watered it all summer, and I got 3 banana peppers and a bunch of leaves. And then in the fall, I saw a caterpillar on it, and the caterpillar was very happy munching the leaves. And I come to find out that this caterpillar was going to turn into a moth, which is a pollinator. So I very happily let them eat the tree, and I was glad it was there for them. So this year I've had a similar experience. I had a parsley plant, and I had gotten a good bit of parsley off of it. So a couple of days ago, I looked at the plant, and it was pretty bare. And what do you know? Another caterpillar. So I let them eat the parsley plant. So I guess, in a way, I'm kind of protecting the pollinators. And with me physically, I've had some real interesting times physically the last 3 years, I'd say, just with the fatigue. And then I stepped on a dog toy and messed up my foot. Found out it was my Achilles tendon, so thankfully nothing was broken. I just had exercises to do. And then in June, when I thought COVID couldn't get any worse, my birth mother died at age 95, and that just sent me for a loop. I'm doing much better now. But it's like I grieved 2 times in my life. I had my mother who raised me, my adoptive mother, died some years ago. And I knew when I found my birth mother that I would have another period of grieving when she passed. And I have. and it's okay, and I'm doing a lot better. But I like to go through some of my notes and things that have inspired me and I've read in the past. And so I'm going to share this one that I did for myself. And this is something that Myrtle Fillmore of Unity said. And it's something I've been repeating, and it's really helping me. It says, I am a child of God. I do not inherit sickness. And this seems to help me every day for my little twitches and aches and foot pains and this and that and the other. And I can feel that I am getting better. And as I get better mentally dealing with it, the physical part is catching up. So anyway, I am so glad to be a part of this meeting and to share with everyone and to see a lot of people that I haven't met before. Thank you.
Hi. It's good to see you again, Kate. It's been way too long.
Please, could you repeat that mantra?
Sure. I am a child of God. I do not inherit sickness. And that was written by Myrtle Fillmore of Unity.
All right, let's try tree one more time. Come on, Teresa.
Tree. You're a tree. We need to hear you.
Yeah. She often has trouble unmuting, and she's
Please share.
frequently
Tree
driving.
always shares. Tree does not keep its gifts to itself.
Yes.
We
Okay.
haven't heard from India or Katie, have we?
So Iriana, no, Katie spoke. Katie told us, but Iriana is in a public space, so she says she can't share. And Heike had to leave. She's in Germany, but she was having a bad connection. But she wrote, I joined and I felt very peaceful. Thank you everyone for being and connecting with me. And Sangeeta also had to leave because she's in India and it's late over there, and she's going to give her father dinner. But she enjoyed being here. And Jenny said, oh, Jenny's saying thank you, everyone.
All right. Well, we've got 10 minutes left. Open it up for anything anybody wants to say.
Well, I was thinking of this, Ksitew, when you spoke about, because in the beginning, I was in and out because people were entering and leaving. But when you said, what did you say what you were thinking of in spring? What did you think the world would go like?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
I did.
Because I remember that this is when this year started, it seemed very special to me. But I did not anticipate it would be the special the way it turned out to be special. One, because it's 2020. Two, because it was the start, and there was talk, is it the start of a new decade? Is it the end of the last year? And I feel that's a very beautiful debate or a discussion, because we don't know if something's ending or something's starting. And a cusp is always very special because it's a joint. And joints are full of old energy, but also new energy. They can help us move, or they can get arthritic and not let us move. Then it was also a leap year. And and I had been all my life doing many, many things. And I used to say, when people would ask me, what do you do? So I would say, I do Reiki, the crystals, Sujoke, meditation, hoop Reiki, many, many things. And then everything came together, and I was able to go back to something I used to write in my email signatures, which was, the deeper you ground, the higher you soar. And I started calling my program Ground to Soar. And part of it was leap. I thought that many of the people who were studying with me would leap this year. So what I didn't anticipate, that the leap is going to be internal. It's not going to be external. And that the leap is not going to be so much for my students as it is going to be for me. Very beautiful lesson.
Yeah, I certainly get that one.
Yes, that was for me. Very big.
I must admit, I've enjoyed this because it was really an experiment. Trying to meditate and move into etheric space while on Zoom as opposed to separate, and be able to see each other as we're doing this is a new level of functioning. And I found it not challenging, but fascinating. You know, especially when people began to share and you realize, you know, at least for me, the reality of our own comfort places and how easily people could slip into that, you know. I certainly have mine, you know, I have a trail I follow to a waterfall which has a tunnel behind it which goes up to a meadow which has a stone throne to sit upon and talk to the animals that show up and whatnot. But yeah, it's like I wasn't sure when I was designing this, you know, how it would work to have people in one position of the medicine wheel and yet each in their own spot, as it were. And it does seem to work well, which I am gratified to know, because it would have been less enjoyable had it not worked. Okay? I appreciate everybody's cooperation, because it was new for all of us. It really was. Hi.
Ksitew, I wanted to share before we said adios today. All my life, I have read the Hopi prophecies, and I've been waiting and anticipating. And the way it has evolved, the awakening, as others have shared, I've done so much inner work in my life. I did not anticipate at all the great, quiet awakening that has occurred within myself during this time of change. And I am so grateful that I have stayed on this earth as a living being of this earth to experience my own awakening. And I am so excited to see what else is coming, because I know it is. Bless you, everybody. Thank you.
Hey. I must admit, I'm really enjoying that part of Zoom, which allows me to reconnect with people that I've known in different avenues for different reasons, but having very similar spirits. You know, I don't know how long ago did we meet, Jenny? Almost 20 years, I think. You know, and same for Kay, and I haven't seen either of you in years, but it's like still there. I used to tell people, you know, I don't think there are any strangers this time around. My feeling is that every time I run into somebody, it seems like somebody I've already known. And I don't know whether that's a sign of last days or what, but it certainly seems like everybody that comes into my life is not new. Not new. Old friends and old irritants, both. So,
Last and first. Beginning and ending. It's a very, very amazing time. And we're going to meet again tomorrow, as we always do, at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to have another equinox ceremony. Please, everyone, if you can, please come and stay connected with the Co-Creator Circle on Facebook or on Instagram or on Eventbrite. The Sunday and Monday circles are always free. We can always gift the host. So Ksitew was the host today, and we have learned from him the gifting of the Cree ways, which I love so much. Ksitew, also, I didn't tell you that in the beginning when I started all this work, I never wanted to, because my husband would say, I'm going to actually just, okay, let it record. He would say, you should not take money for Reiki and for everything else you do. But at the same time, being in a family and then only being able to work from home, I wouldn't do anything about it. And if you spend a lot of time with someone, you do a lot of work before and after. So we all get confused about what we should do about this. And when I learned about gifting, it became so clear, because people would come to me and they say, if you don't tell me how much I'm a doctor, so if I'm coming to you, you have to charge me, because I will charge you if you come to me. So they would not, so I won't come to you if you don't. So the gifting just showed me how simple and easy it is. Give whatever you want to give. If you want to give me a tiny little crystal, it's as precious to me as if you give me a check with more money than I thought that I would have asked you for. And so this is such a very, very beautiful gift that you have given, Ksitew. I've learned a lot from you, a lot from Tavita, a lot from everyone here. Thank you all for coming today.
Who's doing the equinox tomorrow?
Sorry, what did you say?
I was asking who was doing the equinox tomorrow.
We can all do. Whoever wants to do can do.
Oh, it's just open? There's not some person?
I'll do a meditation beginning.
Okay, wonderful. I have a feeling many of us will. It'll be a one full of meditations tomorrow.
Yes.
I get that.
Yes.
Well, it's time for me to leave, folks. I thank
Yes.
you all again.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.